What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here, bringing you another video. Today's video is on Power Rangers Dino Charge. So, as many people know, the most recent episode of Power Rangers Dino Charge just came out, episode 3, known as A Fool's Hour. This episode is a really good one. I personally loved it a lot. There was a lot of things that we learned about the Rangers. There was a lot of things we learned about our villains. A lot of very big things that I kept on questioning whether or not we were going to see happen. One thing is that I was right that this episode did finally give us a little bit of a backstory on Koda, as I said in my previous review. That yes, this definitely gave us a little bit of a backstory on him. I actually took some serious notes on this one because I was very curious about what they were going to do, and believe me, this one had a whole lot of stuff that happened in it that I'm glad that I took notes on, because if I were to do this review otherwise, I'll tell you this much, it would not have been as clear cut as this one is. So I'll tell you exactly what I can give you. So we at the beginning of the episode, as we know that at the end of the last episode, Sledge is trying to figure out a villain that could go and deal with the Rangers, because he noticed that with his last villain, Ice Age, that villain completely failed and they couldn't get the Rangers. So so there was this villain that was known as Scraptor. He was a newer villain. He was a villain that I don't really remember him from the Sentai, but apparently he was there. So he ended up like grabbing onto like a bar of the jail cell and then like just becoming like an arm and just going out, and he tries to sneak out. The thing is that I believe it was Sledge who ends up blasting him, or it could have been Fury. It was one or the other. Regardless, he's told to go and deal with the Rangers. What ends up happening then is that we get a scene showing Riley doing some swordplay practice with some tennis balls. So obviously he's using a tennis ball machine inside their base or whatever. So that's responsible and brilliant. We then find out that Tyler is going to become a busboy at the dinosaur cafe at the museum. So he's like Shelby now. He works. He's like all the Rangers, really. Technically, you could say. So yeah, Tyler's now become a busboy there, and Shelby's kind of like confused. We get to see a little bit. We get to see like a moment or two of Kendall kind of treating Shelby nasty. It's really just like, oh, you're late. That's all it is. It's not anything like too major like last episode where she was just basically just treating her like, oh, she's this terrible person and there's no one that should care for her now. It wasn't that bad, but I mean, that last episode, oh man, she got burned. But I love Shelby. Shelby's become like probably one of my like, at least in the modern like in the Nickelodeon Pink Rangers that we've had, she's probably like become either my favorite or my second favorite. Probably my favorite. I mean, currently speaking, yeah. So let's continue. So we find out more about Koda, as I said before. So we find out that he actually has existed for about 100,000 years. Now, you may think to yourself, 100,000 years, and yet he looks like a regular teenager. Well, the way that they explain it is that, see, I was thinking is that he was going to be frozen over an ice. That at least would make some sense. Obviously, this is Power Rangers logic, and I'm not going to complain because at the same time, it's like, whatever. It's the show. It's a show, whatever. The idea in the show is that basically, once you are bonded to an Energem, you live forever. That's awesome. I would love to be a Dino Charge Ranger and live forever. I mean, I'm sure that they themselves, the actual actors, probably would have loved to have been real Rangers in real life and not have to and like be able to stay at that teenage age. Apparently, find out that Shelby's like 18 or something like that, which is like perfectly fine. Obviously, she might be older than that in real life, but whatever. So that's awesome. But yeah, so they can live as long as they can live forever, basically. So there's no way that they can really. So as long as they don't get like they're pretty much able to live forever. Yeah. Also, we find out that Koda has been living in the base that they've been in for as long as he's had that Energem. So he's pretty much had that Energem for a ridiculous amount of time, and he's a teenager, so he's been living in that. We did not see any actual cutscenes showing him from the past, but what we find out is that he did do cave painting, since he is a caveman technically, and they make an effort to say that he was a caveman. We actually get to hear some dialogue from Koda, which is great because Koda, he has very butchered English, so he's not the best speaker. But at the same time, it's cool to see some paint work. We get to see an image of Fury at the time that they still don't know exactly who Fury is. They've heard of Sledge, but then what happens is that we then there's like an alert where some of the villains come out, and this is where we get to where finally I can stop saying that they don't know who the villains look like, because this is when we see the Rangers. Not morphed, but just, you know, regular civilian forms, speaking to Poisandra, Wrench, and also and then what happens? They speak to them. Then what happens is that like one of the Rangers says something like, "What are you, a heart or something? What are you, like a heart face or something like that?" Or some kind of joke, kind of referencing the Sentai, and just also the appearance overall. And then what happens is that and that's referring to Poisandra. Then what happens is Poisandra's like speaks to the Rangers and said, "Let me introduce my husband to be, Sledge." And we get to see Sledge finally. So the Rangers now know what Sledge looks like. Now know what Poisandra looks like. Now know what Wrench looks like. We get to see some of the Vivixes and some of the other monsters that are a little bit more major, but not like necessarily all that mentioned. We get to see Scraptor, as I mentioned before, who's the villain for the episode. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look here. So what happens is that when Sledge sees the Rangers, he's like, "These are the Rangers that, destroyed my monster and have stolen these energy gems from me." And then Shelby's awesome, and she says, "Power Rangers," like just to say, like, you know, he says, "These are the Rangers. We're the Power Rangers," like just making it out like they're awesome. And you know, Shelby's just great. So I can't get enough of Shelby because she was awesome in that second episode, and just in general, I like her character a lot. I mean, she's become a very cool character. Let's see here. So we also find out about what happened to Sledge, because as we know, there was that bomb that went off, and you're thinking to yourself, wait, I thought Sledge was destroyed. Like we know that Sledge was destroyed, but the Rangers and Keeper had no idea that Sledge was not destroyed. So the thing is that Sledge ends up speaking to the Rangers, and I think at this point, I'm trying to look here, no, never mind. What happens is that Sledge ends up explaining to the Rangers that basically 65,000 years ago or something like that, back when the bomb went off, he waited for several thousand years waiting for a comet to come by, and he planned on using his electro grabber or a machine or whatever to grab onto a comet, use that comet as a way to travel back towards Earth and reclaim the energems. So basically, he just waited for a while and waited for a comet. Yeah, okay. So that's actually perfectly fine. That works. It makes sense. So basically, he was shot a distance away. He had to wait a while before he can get to Earth, but you get the point now. So that's what happened there. So we find out exactly how Sledge is still alive. We find out where he went, what had happened, how he actually did move a distance. We just didn't know how he got back to Earth. So now we know. We then get to see Keeper speaking to Sledge, talking about that they are bonded to the energems and they have these strong powers, and it will be very hard and most likely impossible for you to destroy these Rangers or something like that. And Keeper's just awesome. Sledge treats him like jokes around with him. He's like, "Oh, if it isn't my good friend Keeper," and it's great. I love the confrontation between the two of them. Eventually, Keeper disappears into dust, and then at that moment, the Rangers are like, "What the? Keeper? You left us with Sledge and all these other monsters. Are you sure you want to do that?" And the Rangers are just like uncertain and kind of speechless. It's just like, okay. I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, come on, you're Rangers. You guys are known for fighting these enemies. But it's just like, yeah, I get it. I mean, it's understood. It's understood. You like, Keeper comes there with this massive presence. He turns into dust, and it's just like, but we thought you would help us or something. I mean, Sledge is like the ultimate bounty hunter monster. I mean, what are you doing? But it was just great. We get to see. We then get to find out that Sledge then gives the Rangers this warning that is fake, basically saying to the Rangers, "Okay, you guys have an hour before you must give us the your energems, and if you don't do it, we will destroy you or something like that. We find out that actually we then have this scene. One thing I forgot to mention was that Tyler at one point hears from Chase, who Chase actually points that in the background there was Fury. Now Fury is the monster that we've seen in the pictures and stuff, and they have a good enough sense of who Fury is now because Tyler hadn't seen him yet, but now since he saw him, he was like, oh my god, there's Fury. And so he wants to go and follow Fury. When he goes, so at that point, the Rangers, four of the Rangers split up from Tyler. Not because they want to, because Tyler wants to, because Tyler wants to be separate from the other, because Tyler wants to go after Fury, since Fury was the one that supposedly went after his father, Tyler's father. So he went after him. Fury ends up smelling human, as he says, and he goes and tries to go find Tyler. Tyler hides underneath a rock, and then suddenly Sledge stops Fury from going close enough to Tyler to actually attack him, but instead, like, Sledge tells Fury that they are going to they're going to find the Rangers base and then destroy it. So at that point, Tyler ends up going back to the base, trying to goes towards the base, and tries to stop the Rangers from going into their base so that they don't reveal to the enemy where it is. So what happens is when he goes there, he tries to stop Chase from going into the base. Chase goes in regardless. Scraptor's there, and Scraptor sees how they go in, and that's when they know, oh, that's where the base is. And so that's when Tyler and Scraptor see each other. There's a little bit of a fight sequence. Then Scraptor summons some Vivixes, and after he summons the Vivixes, there's a fight between Tyler and the Vivixes. Following this fight, all the Vivixes are destroyed, and then Tyler is ready to use his Dino Charge blast gun to shoot at Scraptor. Wrench jumps in. So we get to see a little bit of a fight with Wrench. It's an okay fight. We then get to find out that we then see the Rangers back in the four other Rangers in their base, trying to think of things, and then suddenly there's like this alert going on with the monsters, and we suddenly see that, and we find out something before the Rangers go, which is that Kendall has upgraded their Dino Chargers so that now they can go into their special mode. Now in Japan, it was like this armor. It was just like known as an armored up mode. In America, they're referring it as Dino Steel mode, which is so that armor plating that goes on them. Yep, that's what they're going to call it. So also when it comes to that, you obviously get their weapons. They actually say each of the weapons' names, which is awesome, and I will mention that once we get to that part. I'm just trying to see here what comes next. Right. So yeah, so then what happens is that the Rangers come to where I actually was right there. So the Rangers come to where Tyler is fighting, and Chase mentions to Tyler that we got these new upgraded Dino Chargers. We should all test them out now. And so they go into this morphing sequence, and when they morph this time, it's unusual because we get to see them. It's similar to in Super Mega Force, where we saw them in like these plain black outfits, although theirs actually had like the symbol on it for Super Mega Force, while this one really didn't. It was just a completely black outfit, black shirt, black pants, completely dark outfit, and they morph into their Dino Charge. They morph, and that was unusual because in the last episode they didn't do that. I don't think it was the same way. I think it was just like straight up clothing swap. I don't believe that they did the whole thing, but like all five of them morphed at once, so that was awesome. We then get to see them then morph into their armored up Dino Steel mode. So each of their weapons are also introduced. I'm gonna tell you guys what the names are. So the names are, so for Dino Charge Green, or Riley, Riley gets the Raptor Claws. Chase gets the Paratrooper, the Paratropter. Shelby gets the Triceradrill. Coda gets the Stego Shield, and Tyler gets the T-Rex Smasher. So those are the 5 weapons of the Rangers when they go into their Dino Steel mode. So that's awesome. Shelby gets to summon her Zord for the first time, as well as Tyler then summons his. After both of them summon theirs, Tyler combines his like the basic charger for Tyler's with Coda's blue Stego Charger, combined to do a special blast attack. Then Coda summons his, and we find out that also Rexy has amazing jumping abilities. Now, you may think I didn't mention this before. Tyler loves to call his T-Rex Zord Rexy. I kind of like it. So then we get to see what do you call it? Coda's Stego Zord, and we then get to see the transformation. Now, they're going to call it probably for the majority of the season just the Dino Charge Megazord, but they actually gave a specific name for the formation that they had. You know, the 3, like, you know, blue, red, and pink. They decided to call it the Tri-Stego formation. That's interesting. I mean, afterwards they called it just the Dino Charge Megazord, but you get the point. We then get to see, and also the other thing is that inside the Megazord, there's a different look from the Kuro Oger inside, so that's kind of interesting. So that they changed the look a little bit. At least I thought it looked kind of different. I mean, it wasn't like beyond different, but I mean, it definitely looked different from what we were used to in Kuro Oger. If you've watched the Sentai. Then what happens is that we see a little bit of a morph. Is that we see the Megazord battle, the villains. We also get to see some Vivix Megazords battle occur, and the extended theme for the show plays in the background. It's awesome. There's some awesome instrumental that occurs at the beginning, and then it goes into the signature line, Power Rangers Dino Charge. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so that happens. It's awesome. Then we go back to the Dino Charge the Dino Cafe. Sorry, not the Dino Charge Cafe. The Dino Cafe, where Chase apologizes to Tyler. Basically saying, I'm sorry that I thought that you were abandoning the team when you went after Fury, and Tyler's like, it's alright, no problem, it's cool. And then we get to see Tyler trying to be nice, and it was like, oh, and like Shelby's complaining about her job, and then Tyler's like, what are you talking about? It's so much fun. And then he tries to do a trick with one of the Bronto burgers. He tries to flip it. When he flips it, what happens is that they're like, where'd it go? And then they look, and like Tyler looks at Riley. Riley's like, it's not me. And then suddenly they turn to Coda, and Coda's like, and Coda has like this, like his face was like, because he has it in his mouth, and then he spits it out on like Riley, Shelby, and Chase, and it's just like, gotta love this guy, gotta love Coda. You have to love Coda to just look at him and just see him go and just spit it out on everyone. I mean, Coda. This is definitely the Blue Ranger that will be remembered for a while now. I don't know yet. We'll see. He seems alright so far. I know that he's meant to be a certain way. He's supposed to be an older kind of Ranger, and like he's supposed to be like, oh, this good. Be caveman, but I mean he has some intelligence. He's not like completely idiotic. He's not like me have something, and no, he actually has some intelligence. It's just that his English is very broken, but he can speak. He's not like idiotic. He just has broken English. But just overall, you get to see this good sense of relationship between Tyler and Chase and the other Rangers. As far as things go, as I said before, this is looking really good, because like we have enough of a story for Tyler now. We got some of the story for Shelby. We got some of the story for Coda. We get some of the story for Riley. The only one that really hasn't gotten too much of a story is Chase, and even Chase we've gotten a little bit of a story of, and I'm pretty sure that in the next episode or so we should get some story from Chase or Riley again. I would hope it would be Chase, since we've already had a bit of a story from Riley in that second episode, but who knows. I'm pretty sure we're probably just going to get like the next episode will probably be the one where we find out about Chase and who he is, because he seems like an interesting character, and I'm actually very curious about him because it just seems awesome. Just in general, he seems like a really cool guy, and I'm personally curious. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Look me up on Twitter if you haven't, at Crazy Samurai 71 on Twitter. And thank you guys for watching. Again, this has been Crazy Samurai 71. I just did it again. And goodbye, guys.